to his total. Chris Mason is alongside me, Paul the Asset Nicholson, for the second game, which will be the world number one, Luke Humphries, up against Rob Cross, and John McDonald is on the stage to bring the players out.
On Sky Sports from the great city of Berlin, Germany. It's the BetMGM Premier League, all brought to you by the Professional Darts Corporation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet the players. Two Premier League finalists and two former world champions collide. Firstly, would you please welcome the winner of 2 European Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of 5 World Series titles, a World Match Play champion, and a former champion of the world. Voted, Rob
Rob Cross walking down the catwalk at the Uber Arena in Berlin, one of the biggest of the roadshow. And with it being week 9, it is the second half of the programme. And if you think Stephen Bunting's out of it, think again, because if his complete antithesis of a campaign starts tonight, he could still get 40 points in the table. Rob Cross on the stage now with the pyrotechnics. And Chris Mason, he's up against the world number one tonight. What do you expect in this one?
Yeah, Humphries' form of late, he's another one that looks a little jaded. He's someone that looks like they could do with a nice relaxed holiday somewhere on the beach.
He can have one, but not for about 2 months. Still got a lot of work to do for the man who will predict a riot on the stage tonight with his walk-on song. But this is a tournament he has not won yet in his career. It's one of the only tournaments he hasn't won. He would love to get it won this year. This is where the second half begins for him.
Already, Nico, 6 meetings between these two in the Premier League over the last few years. 3, I think.
Indeed it is. They can barely be split in a lot of categories, but when it comes to big major titles in the PDC, Humphries over the last 2 and a bit years has been the king, ticking off titles on his list. But in the last 2 years in Premier League Darts and in European Tour events, these two have had some dramas, including 9 darters, great averages.
Last leg shootout.
Indeed. So this one could be really interesting. Now I want to get your viewpoint on this, Mace, because Van Gerwen out because of injury, like we've mentioned a few times on our talkSPORT 2 broadcast tonight and on our talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Chuck us a like and a subscribe. You know what makes sense. Rob Cross playing with 12 points in his campaign right now. He's in 5th position. He's just seen Nathan Aspinall lose and stay on 10 points. But he's had to watch Gerwyn Price go to 14 points without throwing a dart. What makes this game really interesting is not the best of 11 match you're about to see. Maybe it's the pressure on Cross, because he will know that he plays Aspinall first game next week.
Yeah, and I think there was apart from the element of great play from Bunting, there was almost a transfer of pressure during that game. You could see Nathan starting to think to himself, I don't want to be the one. But credit to Bunty, he more than played well enough and deserved that win. And it's funny, these two, they do go through these sort of dips and waves of form. It's the 25th meeting between them. Rob leads 14-10 in overall meetings, but you know their metrics are separated by minuscule amounts, aren't they? It's just that with Luke, he gets his tail up and he's more of a streak player who just reels off these sort of 3, 4, 5 leg spells of mind-bendingly brilliant.
Well, Humphries is going to start this match.
Starts it with a 5, of course.
Of course he does. Get it out the way.
Yeah.
5, followed by a 20 and a treble 19, so starts with 82, and he's starting tonight on 18 points in the table, 8 adrift of Luke Littler, and crosses off to a flyer starting with a 177. Here's a question for you, miss. Are we going to get a perfect leg in Germany tonight?
Yeah, I can't see why not, but the only player I see it coming from is the main man, or the main young man.
You're not getting that feeling, are you?
No, not tonight.
Neither am I.
The last time we had them, we were both sort of, we think we're going to get 9s, or we may message each other in the day going, there's a 9 coming. Just, I don't know, you just sense it. You see the matches and how they could play out. And listen, when it happens, it's usually down to you being involved in a game where you're thinking about winning legs, not hitting 9 darts.
This is only the 3rd time in Premier League Darts history that they've had a night like this. In 2023 on night 9, just like this, it was won by Johnny Clayton, winning 6-4 against Michael Smith. We'll talk more about that throughout the course of this match, but Rob Cross has got 110 here to take this first leg against the darts. Small 20 is the start, the 18s, of course he gets 3, because he's the best treble 18 hitter in the world. How about his double 18? That's pretty good as well. So he starts with a 177 and ends the leg in our second match of the night. The first leg of the contest goes the way of a ton plus checkered for Cross.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was a well-constructed leg in the end. And listen, how you beat Humphries is by keeping him on the back foot. And listen, it's easier said than done. And he's a tough night's work, no matter what's going on. But like I said, there's just a I don't know what it is with him at the moment. There's just something not right. Whether it is he is a little jaded, and you never know. They're hard animals to read, dart players.
Of course they are. We both know that, having played on the PDC tour at differing times, sometimes at the same time.
Yes.
Well, these two actually did meet in a European Tour final just shy of 2 years ago, and that was Rob Cross's first ever European Tour victory, and he'd been through the mill just to get it. He's got 237 here, maxes it up to leave 57, and he's getting that hot start that he wanted to put Humphries on the back foot.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, Nico, when we were expecting him to pick up a title, where he was having those incredible battles with Gary Anderson, where they're both just trading big scores and low legs. Tops for an 11 darter for Rob Cross to lead 2-0. No real drama. Double 10, gets it. Not surprised with that. Humphries back on 2-1 in that leg.
When you consider how strong a scorer Luke Humphries is, this is a little befuddling. It will be to us, but imagine what it's like for Luke, the world #1 at the minute. Consequently, a podcast during the week that's very famous in the UK,
yes,
it was labelling Luke Littler as the world #1. Might want to get your facts straight.
Yeah.
Luke Humphries is the world #1. He is #2 in the Premier League right now, 8 points adrift of Littler. And he's going to be coming up in the next match on talkSPORT 2 against Chris Dobey. He will start as a heavy favourite, but never count out Dobey, who will be having his tail up after a Newcastle win against Brentford last night.
Yeah, another good win for the Toon. Will you be going to Wembley? No. I think Dobey's going, isn't he?
He goes wherever Newcastle do. That's if he's not playing darts, that's for sure. 2-0 Cross on talkSPORT 2 at the Uber Arena in Berlin.
It was a great win for our local club as well, Forest.
Yes, they've done very well to get to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and Rob Cross is on a heater here. 206 compared to the Humphries 201. He just will not leave Humphries alone. However, something's changed. 2 treble 20s for Humphries, and then that last start he went for the 25 in bull, only got a small 20 but left on 61. At least this time he's going to have a chance.
Yeah, he seems to be trying to pick up the tempo and get a bit more rhythm in his game. Rob Cross certainly not the slowest. They know each other's game inside out. 25 is found, and the double 18. Another beautiful leg in this match, which is really starting to, as you say, Nico, heat up a bit.
Absolutely. Great leg there from the world #1. Now, as I was saying a little bit earlier, we did have Premier League Darts here in Berlin in 2023. It was 9-9 won by Clayton, beating Michael Smith 6-4 in the final. The year after that, last year, Michael van Gerwen beat Luke Littler 6-5 Littler's here tonight, MVG isn't. But the first night before that, it was the playoffs in June of 2022. That was the night that Joe Cullen, missed double 16 to become Premier League champion and to win it 11-10. He missed it, and then MVG won that Premier League in Berlin. So big titles have been won in this arena, including darts. Cross, averaging 116 in this game, has got a nice healthy lead. 283 is shrunk down to 149.
Yeah, when the news broke that MVG wouldn't be playing, now that it's the Uber arena, I was just wondering if his taxi failed to pick him up or something.
Well, Humphries is scratching his neck, literally and metaphorically scratching his head, because 302 for him. Cross on 149 with a treble 19. Up for the 60, but straight into the small one.
Cross averaging, well, prior to that visit, 117.
Humphries looks a little lost on the stage.
He does.
He's only got 98.
Befuddled.
204 for Humphries, 74 for Cross. He'll go treble 18 here. This is all part of his plan. He gets it. Double 10, which he hit a little bit earlier in the match, could give him a 3-1 lead. He's missed it way left and low, so he has to go high for double 5. Misses that drastically low, so Humphries isn't out of this leg.
No, not when you're left on 5 when you come back. A 140 ton minimum, only 60, and they were sort of thrown as almost like he was guessing the weight of throw.
Cross is going to go for this 5 score here with 1-2-2. That is right in the middle of the single one. 2-2, bottom right corner of the board. Misses it just high, so he has to go to the madhouse. 1-1, top of the board. Gets it. That will be frustrating for Humphries in more ways than one, but when he was signalling on the stage with his previous visit, he was saying he feels a wind up there.
Yes, yeah, well spotted. Yeah, he's sort of doing a wave motion that they usually sort of are indicating that there's a draft. And the problem is they play in these big arenas. It's not that there's a door open. People think, oh well, it must be a door. It's not. It's just the movement of people will create wind and movement in the air.
He's the person who has the darts that should behave the best, because they're front loaded. They should travel better if there is a tiny bit of a breeze.
Yeah, they go through the air faster, don't they?
Rob Cross on 406 scores a 2-treble visit right there to lead 266. Humphries on 222 here, a better leg, down for the cover on the 19s, gets 2 of them. 134 leaves and 188, so this is a better position for Humphries to try and spark something here.
Yes, and he needs breaks to throw. Holds are imperative. Jono asks in the YouTube chat, was he actually in Berlin? Yes, he was actually at the venue, and I'm not sure as of yet, because it literally was breaking news as Humphries takes the 88 out and closes the gap to 1. Yeah, he was literally there, so it could have been something that had happened during practice.
Of course, last week Gerwyn Price had an injury in Newcastle, but was cleared to play.
Yep.
He didn't play very well, has recovered very well since, and we will see the Iceman in the semi-finals tonight because of a bye. 123 start for Humphries. He's starting to churn here. Things are getting incrementally better. He hasn't missed a double yet. He's 2 from 2, and his average is starting to creep up as well towards 99.
Yeah, Rob crosses down to a paltry 106. I can say that.
You've said that more this year than any other season.
Yeah, I think I have.
Humphries has figured it out. 140 there to lead 238 after 6 here. And we've seen and heard during this Premier League campaign that when he's behind at the halfway point, he's more dangerous from that point than any other.
Yep, statistically. Not an opinion. 2-3-1 Cross leads 3-2. Humphries 2-3-8. I thought it was a 180 as well, but it's only a 140, so down to 98 on the cross throw, so a chance to level and get us back on throw.
61 with the first 2 for Cross. Gets another 60 to leave 110. Humphries on 98 to level. This is for a break of throw. Big one. Has to go downstairs and gets the 57. Tops. Just short of the tops by about a centimetre. So Cross on 110, which we've already seen in this game in the first leg, would give him a 4-2 lead.
And he's got the 60 this time, so it'll be a different route. Single 18, double 16. 4-2, this would hurt. It wasn't a million miles away, was it?
It was so close. And Humphries comes back for double 10. Misses it just to the right-hand side as a marker. Didn't really need it. He gets leg 6, and in their head-to-head record, it is 3-3 in Premier League darts. It is now 3-3 in this game. It is incredible how you just can't split these players sometimes.
No.
98.
Caller tonight, Charlie Costafine, world-class referee, flanked by Scott Gibling, who has been one of the officials on the PDC circuit for about 20 to 25 years now.
For as long as I can remember.
And Andrew Davies on the left-hand side of the stage.
Former Welsh international himself.
Absolutely.
Good player. He played a lot in the early years of the PDC.
Yeah, you do see a lot of the officials who have got some talent. Now Humphries on 3-6-2.
Charlie Gardner, the son of Richie Gardner, who was a fabulous player back in the 80s.
Good use of the treble 19 there from Cross to get him to 310 points. He knows he's only 140 points away from a finish now, but again, Humphries, now he's levelled, he's starting to feel that breeze again.
Oh, interesting that. See, if you get a load of people that all sort of leave at the same time to go and use the restrooms or whatever, it just creates movement in the air. It's a bit of a bizarre phenomenon. He's getting a lot of darts that are just offline, but always seem to be in that treble 1 section. So there's certainly something you can feel that's moving the darts through the air.
He's only played in Berlin once, and that was last year. Won 1 game and lost 1 game. Rob Cross has played 3 games on this stage. He's won 2 and lost 1, so they're not really that different in record in this arena. Humphries hits 99 to lead tops, and Cross again on a treble, single, double combination. This time 114, he's got the 60. He's going to go for 14 in tops. This is different. Usually goes 18 for double. Now it is tops for a 4-3 lead. Just underneath by half a centimetre means he's not going to break if Humphries hits tops himself.
It's sort of a guide. He puts one by the side of it. Oh dear, disaster for Humphries.
You look at his eyes right now. He is burning with anger for some reason. Cross on 10s. Misses it left, so he's got to go for 5s now after a little reset. Wiping the hand on the trouser leg. Does it work with dart 3 because the second one's too high? Dart 3's too low. They're all over the place all of a sudden.
It would have been burn, baby, burn if he'd have last started him. This time Humphries does get tops, does hold, leads 4-3. Don't forget, if you're watching my our talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel, please subscribe. We do appreciate the support, and of course if you subscribed and you do have a question for myself or Nico or Abi or anybody else that's on the team on any said given night, we will be able to comment on the chat.
Now these two actually have something in common when it comes to Berlin. They both played here last year and both lost to Luke Littler, and then he went on to lose to Michael van Gerwen, so at least we know that can't happen again tonight.
Nope. No MVG, sadly. Still have a fabulous lineup for you.
So it is going to be a new nightly winner in Berlin, because when MVG won the Premier League here in 2022 and then backed it up with a nightly win last year, either side of the Clayton win 2 years ago, it means that Berlin is going to have a new champion tonight, so somebody else for the Berlin crowd to chant on. 2-2-7 Humphries goes for cover on dart 3, gets a treble 17 after 2 single 20s, leaves him on 1-3-6, and he's still scratching his head.
Littler Dobey to follow this one. Winner of that one, of course, plays Gerwyn Price, who got the bye against MVG. Fancy the 1-3-6, single 20 instead of a treble, but leaves tops. And well, Rob Cross playing a different game right now. Not even halfway through the leg. He's back on 2-7-7, but does find a treble.
Yeah, at one point Rob was averaging 117. Now, after that max, it's still mid-90s. Tops for Humphries has missed low. Wide left on double 10 and double 5. Last chance saloon works this time, and Humphries is 5-3 up. This is not so much about the brilliance of Humphries, it's about the fact that Rob Cross seems to have gone missing.
Yeah, it's the capitulation of Cross. He's, like you say, averaging 117 and just looking irresistible. And for the average to be mid-90s but coming from 117, it tells you that he has to be averaging in the 80s.
They've both had the same amount of darts at double. That's where this game will be seen by the onlooker, as of course Humphries is better on the doubles than Cross. But Humphries has been chipping away, and we did say early in this game, if he's behind, say 3-1, he doesn't panic.
No, he is very much of the mould of the Nathan Aspinall, but he just does it in a different way.
Call him cool hand by name, cool hand by nature. 265 Humphries has to go for cover to the bullseye and gets a 25. That means that 105 score leaves him on 160 to win this match, which would give him 2 extra points and take him to 20 points in the table. 140 from Cross leaves 121, but it's 160 for Humphries to win this one in this leg. There's the first 60. There's the second one. The tops for Coolhand is just short, and he thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought that was going to fly in. A big ask for Aspinall. He has had a 110 finish. He's got the treble 20, 11 and ball. Treble 11, double 14. It is ball to stay in the match.
It's low, it's right, it's in the 17, and Rob Cross believes this one is over. Humphries has double 10 and doesn't need asking again. He wins by 6 legs to 3. But if you look at that game in its entirety, that was a great fight back. Rob Cross went missing for the last 5 legs, and Coolhand does make his way to the semi-finals for the 2nd consecutive year in Berlin. He's going to be taking on Stephen Bunting in the first semi-final a little bit later on. But Mace, where was this game won and lost?
I'm not quite sure. Maybe composure is interesting. You know, I've sort of sensed that Humphries is not the most confident player in the world right now, and I'm sort of proven right, because there was a huge sigh of relief once he got that match won and he was shaking the hands of our referee and officials on stage, and that tells you how much a win like that against Cross means to him, because in the early stages Cross was irresistible, but it was a complete capitulation. He did go missing.
Humphries with the lesser average by nearly 2 points, 98 exactly, only had the 1 max, but his doubles were very good indeed. They were good enough. That's all he wants. He's into the semi-finals. He has beaten Rob Cross by 3 legs. We've got another quarter-final coming up for you, indeed the last quarter-final of the night because of Michael van Gerwen's withdrawal. So Chris Dobey is about to take to the stage against Luke Littler to try and get a win on the board. Hasn't been a great Premier League for Chris so far, but maybe he can be inspired as he goes to Berlin. Littler would love to be the next player to win in this arena. So keep it talkSPORT 2. The next quarter-final is on its way, but for this one, Luke Humphries has won against Rob Cross in the second quarter-final by 6 legs to 3 on talkSPORT 2. And when it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. Threat Protection Pro helps you dodge bogus sites with the dark web monitor. You'll get a heads up if your personal info starts circulating in the online equivalent of the Madhouse. Go to nordvpn.com/darts VPN and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's a risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Keep it here on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. We've got another quarter-final coming up for you. See you soon.